Hey guys, RC Peck here. And the question I want to answer with this weekly update is, will the stock market keep going up? Yes, it's gone up. Yes, it went up from the COVID bottom, but will it keep going up? So I want to jump into that and show you exactly what I'm seeing. Hey guys, the question I'm hearing a lot lately and what I want to talk about in this weekly update is, will the stock market keep going up? Now, it's an okay question. There's certainly better questions to ask than that, but let's stick with what people are just asking themselves. So the way I want to approach this is I want to talk about this we're going to look at price charts for sure, but I want to talk about this from the standpoint of the 5 largest economies on the planet, the 3 largest economic blocks on the planet, and then just look at the planet. And then finally, if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you if the stock market's not going to keep going up, also known as falling, then we actually know what needs to happen. We know what needs to go up if the stock market's going to fall. And so at the end, I want to go over and look at those parts of the overall just big, huge investment world and say, okay, well, if the market is not going to keep going up, then these do have to be going up. That's a lot of going up. So let me do this. Let me jump over to the price charts. And let's start with those 5 big economies on the planet. So the largest economy on the planet is the US. I know I'm saying economy and I'm looking at a stock chart, but I'm kind of framing it like, look, is the economy really that bad? Is it as bad as you've been told or taught or being taught? Because here I'm looking at the stock market in the US. This is VTI, it's the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, and it's going up. I'll be referencing this part right here over and over. This is the trade war peak. That's when Trump tweeted that he was going to do a trade war with China. And you can see the US stock market's way above that. And it's almost basically at a new lifetime high. So if we believe Price has the answer and Price knows what those 700 million people are doing with their money, not tweeting about or talking about or vlogging or blogging or anything about, but actually doing with their money, US is going higher. Second largest economy, China. China is going through a little bit of a correction. Now, here's that trade war high here. So certainly as long as it stays in that range or moves higher, then that's definitely fine. China is working on breaking higher and higher, and it's had a pretty good move. So one should expect a correction. And so we have to watch this to see if it actually breaks below that lower blue line. But right now it's just coming back into consolidation, which is not a false breakout until it actually breaks down lower. So right now, China is just digesting. So we'll call China neutral at worst, and doing some great digesting as it moves higher at best. And then we have Japan. Japan actually peaked. If you don't know this, the Nikkei, this is not the Nikkei, it's EWJ. It actually peaked in 1989. What's that, 32 years ago? I mean, this is amazing that the Japanese stock market peaked 32 years ago. Now, I went to Japan for the first time in 1990. So it was literally, no one knew it was the peak. Everyone was rich and smart and good looking. And there's so much money flowing. Interesting enough, I was in Iceland in 2006 before everything crumbled. And it was the same thing. Everyone's like, oh, people in Iceland are so smart and they're so happy. It was literally at the peak of their prosperity. But this is the Japanese stock market via the symbol EWJ. New lifetime highs, guys, got out a month ago. That is, I think we'd call that bullish. So 3rd largest economy on the planet, doing pretty good. Here's Germany right here via the ticker symbol EWG. And that is, look at this, consolidating right there. It broke right above that. If you look there, that price broke above there, and it's just hanging out up there, checking out its old lifetime high, the trade war high at the beginning of 2018. When any black squiggly line, let alone the 4th largest economy on the planet's stock market, is testing and pushing up against that lifetime high, that's a significant sign that that's strength. So that's the fourth economy on the planet via EWG. And this is the UK. Now, I actually think this looks worse than China in some ways. China already broke out and is just coming kind of back down into that breakout price to retest to see if there are more buyers there. To me, the UK, and by the way, it has been going up since the COVID bottom, but you can see it's quickly moving up towards those old highs. So it is strengthening. So the fifth largest economy is strengthening. The fourth largest, Germany, those two are in Europe, is flirting with new lifetime highs based on EWG. And then we have Japan absolutely cranking it, wanting to get back to its 89 highs. China having a little correction as it just broke out to new highs. So you look at the five economies and they're all bullish. They're all doing it slightly different based on the symbols I showed you. But it's all bullish. So those five economies are definitely saying, yeah, the market's going higher. Now, I can then take a bigger step back, and I'm going to show you VTI again because VTI is the US stock market, and it represents half of the world's stock market. Again, even though I'm zooming out, I'm still using this because it's the second largest economic block. We can get rid of that. It's the second largest economic block, but there it is. So that's second. I'm going in no particular order here. If I want to look at Asia, here's an ETF for Asia. Asia's pretty ginormous. This is the third biggest economic block on the planet, all of Asia. That's Japan, China, Southeast Asia, Central Asia. That's strong. It's above its trade war highs, right? Follow price, price is going higher. So now you have Asia going higher, you have the US going higher. And then let's look at all of Europe. So here's all of Europe. Look at that, breaking out to new highs. Europe itself, that is the largest economic block on the planet, and it is breaking up. So whether you look at it from the five biggest economies, the three largest economic blocks, or if you just take Earth's stock market, which of course no one calls it that, but this is all the stock markets on the planet in one symbol, looks pretty healthy. I've talked about this in other videos that I think people looking for crashes is a very big mistake because we just had one. And I did a whole talk on crashes under both with my Ask RC video and weekly update, how once there's a crash, things are good for a while. Like a while. And so it's absolutely a mistake to be looking for a crash. But if you are, because we're talking about will the world stock market keep going up? What I want to end with in this video is what would have to shift for me to change my mind, right? So before I get to the final charts, first is these black lines, just take the world stock market, it would actually have to start falling. And the lows are getting higher and the highs are getting higher. And if that framing kind of confuses you, the mountain peaks are getting higher and the valleys are getting higher. And so that's a sign of strength. Now, the question then is, well, if it's going to stop going higher, if the stock market's going to stop going higher, what would have to happen other than the obvious that the black squiggly lines that I've been showing you stop going up? The other thing is we'd have to see money moving into the parts of the overall investment world where people put their money when they're scared. So this is a price chart of the US dollar. It's an index. And no, I mean, yes, I see what you're saying here. You might go look at it's going higher here, but not really. This is just a huge mess sideways. This is the COVID crash here. Money really, really piled in to the US dollar. That's not happening. So we're not seeing money flow into the US dollar. And that's where people historically go. It's one of the places people historically go when they're really scared. The other is the Japanese yen. Guys, it's falling. People are not going into the Japanese yen, which puts even more strength under the Japanese stock market. That's why I think the Nikkei is going back to its 1989 high. That's only positive. That's only positive. Oh, the thing I did want to say about Japan is, so it's been 32 years. You could have probably gone to Japan in any one of those 32 years, and you'd be like, this is one of the richest countries ever on the planet. It's also one of the safest countries on the planet of any size. And the fact that it's one of the largest countries on the planet, about 120 million people, and it is literally one of the safest countries on the planet for women or men. So they figured out a lot of things in Japan. Okay, so money's not going into the US dollar, money's not going into the Japanese yen. And then two more would be the US bond market, not happening. You can see here, it broke up. That's actually called a false breakout when it breaks up and it can't sustain, it comes back into and it breaks down. So the bond market, money's not going into the US bond market. And here's the international bond market here, which looks slightly better relative to, this is the international bond market. You can see money's not flowing into this either. It stopped really flowing into it here, and the price has been falling. So this now, will the stock market keep going up? The best indicator of a market moving higher is what it is already doing. And the US market, the European market, the Asian market, right? The world market, the 5 largest economy markets, all of them are all moving higher. That's the best predictor of what's happening next, is what is already happening now. And then to put a bow on this, money is not flowing into the parts of the market where people put their money when they get scared. In fact, it's coming out of that. And so any correction in any of the markets right now has to be looked at as just, it's a correction, it's a digestion. Even with FXI, which is priced in US dollar, you could look at it with A shares, it looks slightly less horrible. This is the Chinese stock market priced or hedged, the dollar's hedged out of it. And you can see what I mean by it looks less horrible. It's more of an up and to the right. So the stock market's gonna keep going up. People are looking for a crash because they're getting taught and they're getting scared and they're getting stressed and they're getting focused on looking for a crash because they're in some sort of someone else's business model. There is no crash on the kind of the horizon. A correction, 10%, 15%, super normal. But a crash, there's nothing absolutely going on. And in fact, new lifetime highs across the board are where they were at the beginning of 2017. And if you remember anything about what a stock market looks like, 2017, I'll actually pull up just the US one right here with SPY. 2017 was one of the lowest volatile years ever. And that's it right there. It was just crazy slow up and to the right. And it's very likely that that's what we've got coming into 2021, even though there's a pandemic, even though there's been mismanagement, even though the bottom 50% has been really hurt, then the next 40% has been really hurt, and the top 10% has been helped, and the top 1 to 2%, their wealth has just been accelerated. But I'm not talking what's fair or what's not fair. I'm talking about where money ought to be and how to put it there. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you being in my world. Please hit the like button. It makes a big difference. And of course, if you want alerts, just ring the bell so you will get alerts when we have the next video. Of course, if you like this video, you will love the other videos I have. Okay, guys, thanks so much, and I will speak to you soon. Okay, bye.